Hello students, welcome to the class. Today we shall be learning about the tactics decoy in chess. What does decoy mean and how can we execute the tactics decoy to win in chess? We shall also be going through a couple of examples from practical play to see how the tactics of decoy is used by masters. So let's begin. First, let's understand what decoy means. Unlike deflection, you might recall that we have done a class on deflection. Deflection means removing defenders from the defense. Yeah, by hook and crook, we have to remove the defenders and then the defense collapses. But in case of decoy, it's just the other way around. It's like attracting the opponent pieces to a favorable square. That's favorable square for us. So in case of deflection, we remove the opponent piece from defense. But here in case of decoy, we bring or we attract the opponent's pieces to a square which is favorable to us. To understand decoy in little more depth, let's go through some examples. So look at this position, the first position, where it is black to play and win. So take your time, think and try to find out a win for black. Well, the best move for black in this position is to place his bishop on the square g5. It's a very surprising move, but it wins for black immediately. Why? The queen on h6 does not have any square to go without being captured. Okay, the queen obviously cannot exchange with a pawn or rook. All these points are defended by black or covered by black pieces. And now the bishop is threatening the queen. The only move the queen has is queen takes g5 because the bishop is undefended and that is the only square available for white queen. But then the black knight lands on h3. It's check and double attack. It's knight fork. So what happened? Black attracted the white queen to a square which was vulnerable. The knight simply landed on h3 and won the queen. So this is a typical example of decoy where we attract opponent pieces to a square which is favorable to us. Okay, let's move on to the next example to understand the concept of decoy even better. Now in this situation, it is white to play and win immediately. If you count the number of pieces or chessmen, you will find that white has a rook for a knight and pawn, which means white has two rooks, black has two minor pieces, two rooks and bishop and queen. Black has, well, bishop, queen, rook and knight instead of rook, and black has one extra pawn, which means knight and one extra pawn for a rook, which is slightly better for white, but considering the knight is posted on a good square in the center, the fight is on. Anybody can win this situation, but luckily for white, he has the opportunity to finish the game at once. So look at the board carefully and find out white's winning move. Well, white played a fantastic move, that is rook d1 to d8. Well, before understanding the logic of this, I'm sure many of you were considering queen h8 check. The queen lands very close to the king, supported by the rook. Black king has to go to f7, and then if we capture the queen, the king recaptures, and again the fight continues. Nothing happens immediately. But for white to win, he has to first attract the queen to a square which is favorable to white. That means white simply places the rook on d8, pinning the queen and sacrificing itself, because black is now forced to capture the rook, and now we play queen h8 check. The same position, but the difference is queen is no more on e8, it's on d8, which is favorable to me. I can simply capture without being recaptured. So this is the winning idea. Look at the position once again. Decoy means attracting opponent pieces to a square which is favorable to us. Right? Queen goes to d8 and we capture the queen. Now another example of decoy. It is white to play and checkmate black in 2 moves. Everything looks equal. Okay, if you count material, both sides have same number of pieces and pawns. But despite that, the only factor which is very special in this position is that black king has very few squares to escape. For example, these 3 squares are controlled by white queen, these squares are all controlled by white's pieces, and these 2 squares are blocked by black's own pieces. The only square available to the king is this square. So how does white win? I would suggest all of you take your time, think and try to solve before moving further with the video. You may pause the video at times when I set the position and try to solve this position by yourself. White played g5, a fantastic move. Basically, he is inviting the king to come forward, and that is the only move. After which the queen goes to f4, check, and suddenly king has no square, it's checkmate. Okay, if I play queen f4 check at once, the king escapes. Okay, either to here or here, anywhere. But after g5 check and attracting the king, queen f4 is immediate checkmate. So this is how we use the concept of decoy to pull our opponent's pieces to squares favorable for us. Now we shall go through some of the games played by masters of the past, and we shall be learning how they use decoy to win games. Now the first game which we shall see was played between a player named Kraus against Kostin in 1914. So it's a 110 years old game. White started with d4, black played c5, and white captured this pawn. Okay, this pawn was without support, but black immediately played queen a5 check in order to recapture this pawn. It's a double attack. White developed his knight and black took this pawn. So here everything is equal, but white is ahead in bringing out his pieces. White played e4, black played e5. White brought out his knight and black played d6. White played knight to d5. He put his knight in the center of the board, and it is here that black made a mistake. He played knight e7. And here I would ask you to pause the video, think for some time and find out how white won the game immediately. Within 2 moves, black resigned. Okay, white played a brilliant move, that is b4. Attacking the queen. Well, the idea of b4 is not that I'll capture the queen, because obviously the queen will escape. Now queen can't capture b4 because of the knight is supporting it. The queen in fact cannot capture anything, and it can't go anywhere except this square. And it is here that white played a brilliant decoy, which means he sacrificed his bishop to attract the queen to a square which is favorable to white, because knight c7 check immediately forks the king and queen, and white wins the queen. So bishop b5 is a sacrifice. It is also decoy, attracting the opponent piece to an inferior square. Okay, this is how white managed to win. Now the next game was played in 1949, so almost 75 years old. The player with white is Barnett and the player with black is Eastwood. The game started with e4, e5, white played d4, black took this pawn and white took back with his queen. Now black played queen f6. Usually in this situation, knight c6 is the best move. This is considered to be the best because the knight develops, the knight comes out, and the knight also attacks the queen. But instead, black played queen f6, offering to trade the queens, and white said, "Thank you, I won't exchange." So white declined to exchange the queens. Black went knight h6, white brought out his knight, black attacked the white queen, and white counter-attacked the black queen. If black now captures the queen, white will also capture the queen with a check. And if black captures the knight, white will also capture the knight. Everything will be equal. So black went queen c6 instead. Well, there is also a double attack. That means the queen is attacked. This pawn also doesn't have support. The queen went here supporting the pawn, and now black is threatening this queen. Now white played a very nice move, that is queen f4, another double attack, attacking the knight which is without defense, it doesn't have support, and attacking the pawn, especially with the knight. The pawn does have defense with his queen, but white is attacking twice and black has only one defense. So black has to defend c6, 7 pawn, and g4 knight, and it did so by playing d6, which blocks the diagonal and also supports the knight. It is white to play and win immediately. And yes, if you have paid attention to the previous example, you can find this very easily. White can sacrifice his bishop once again with the idea to attract the queen to unfavorable square, and then playing knight c7 check and winning the queen. And this is how the game ended. White won the game. So I hope by this time all of you have some idea of what decoy means, and you shall be using this tactics of decoy to destroy a lot of your opponent's defense and win many games in chess. So keep watching the videos. Goodbye.